The mainstream media is lying to you about crypto. So are the powers that be. While they pump out fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the truth is the global financial system is already being integrated into blockchain rails right now, literally as I speak in real time. Yesterday, I covered how the NASDAQ just yesterday filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission to approve a trading of tokenized stocks and ETFs. Essentially, you'd be able to own an Apple stock in a current form and an Apple stock that exists on blockchain. If that rule change is approved, the NASDAQ becomes the first major United States exchange to fully embrace tokenization. I went a little bit further and connected that filing of the NASDAQ to the DTCC, or Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, patents that I had found from May. The DTCC is a clearinghouse that processes $2.5 quadrillion in securities every single year. That's quadrillion with a Q. They have already filed patents referencing blockchain networks like Hedera, XRP, and more. They've been working with Chainlink for connectivity and interoperability, which is another blockchain ecosystem, not a network, but an ecosystem. In plain English, the biggest plumbing in the world, all of finance globally, is being rewired for tokenized settlement. And just now, just hours ago, the NASDAQ announced a $50 million investment into crypto exchange Gemini. This isn't the other way around. This is the NASDAQ investing $50 million into Gemini. This is not a side bet. This is a strategic partnership. Gemini becomes the custodial backbone for NASDAQ's institutional grade clients. And there's a little bit of a deeper rabbit hole we're going to be diving into here. So bear with me. Even more important in this announcement here, as I mentioned, NASDAQ just announced an investment of $50 million into Winklevoss founded crypto exchange Gemini. I guess I'll share the header with you guys. You can see this headline right here, and I'm going to go through this and explain a little bit more here. Gemini becomes essentially a distribution partner for Calypso. Calypso is NASDAQ's trade management system. If we look on this document here, you can get into the announcement. Gemini will also become a distribution partner for NASDAQ's trade management system known as Calypso. Well, as I like to do, I like to dive down the rabbit hole a little bit deeper. Calypso isn't some side tool of the NASDAQ. It's a global trade management platform used across Wall Street and beyond. It handles collateral management, derivatives, risk, and settlement. And here's the kicker: Calypso is already blockchain ready. We found in the SEC filing yesterday all of the settlement activities occurring through the DTCC, but I want to focus on Calypso and the Canton Network today. So bear with me as we dive down the rabbit hole. June 26, 2025, so just a few months ago, NASDAQ and QCP set a new standard of capital efficiency by connecting Canton Network, which is a private blockchain network by the Digital Asset Group, to NASDAQ's Calypso. Use case demonstrates the ability to enhance institutional risk management by integrating on-chain capabilities. Let's dive a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole. Proposed risk mitigation framework for non-financial risks of blockchain infrastructure. This is very recent. This is about a month and a half ago I did a video. What is the risk mitigation framework? It's an industry-led effort facilitated by the Global Blockchain Business Council to give financial institutions guidelines to analyze and control the non-financial risks that arise when they use public blockchain infrastructure. What did we just say Canton Network is that is already integrated with NASDAQ? That is private blockchain infrastructure. This risk mitigation framework is public blockchain infrastructure. Let's see who some of the players are here. Phase one of this risk mitigation framework includes Avalanche, Cardano, Clearstream, DTCC, Euroclear, the Global Blockchain Business Council, the Hedera Foundation, Oliver Wyman, and Ripple, with the World Bank sitting as an advisor. I wonder who's in phase two. Chainlink and Canton, with additional organizations to be confirmed. So there we have Canton, a private network that's already integrated with the NASDAQ for blockchain, different utilities, as we saw here. NASDAQ announces, blah, blah, blah. You can read through this whole press release. You start diving down the rabbit hole and you see the synergy between these organizations and just the facts of GBBC for capital markets, phase 1 draft, risk mitigation framework, because at the end of the day, all of this stuff will not go live if it is not compliant first and they don't figure out the compliance aspects, hence the risk mitigation framework of going live on these public networks, such as Hedera, such as XRP Ledger, such as Avalanche, such as Cardano. And you need the connectivity and the glue there. That's why you got Chainlink coming in, and you need the privacy aspects for sure, which it looks like that's why they have Canton Network involved. The observer is the World Bank, confirmed phase 2, as you can see right here. Canton Foundation and Chainlink, and core contributors of phase 1, Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, Euroclear, Clearstream, GBBC, Hedera Foundation, Ripple, Oliver Wyman, Avalanche. You get the picture. All right. Canton Network directly integrated into Calypso, which you can see right here from this press release. We talked about the GBBC framework as well. Chainlink already deeply tied in. So when you hear NASDAQ invests in Gemini, don't think it is an exchange partnership. Think about all of the world's financial infrastructure and the different ties you can find that connects all this stuff together. Canton plus Calypso plus the Global Blockchain Business Council, and how all of this is being kind of tested out, hidden right in front of our eyes, but hidden from the mass populace here, because all that the mainstream media wants to talk about is what the president's family is doing with crypto, why Bitcoin crashed 6% in a day. Meanwhile, it's up, I don't even know what Bitcoin's at right now, $115,000, $120,000, give or take, whatever. And a year ago, it was like half of that. Where XRP's at, what's going on with, HBAR. It is such small potatoes that they are trying to dumb down society as to what's actually unfolding. And I wanted to give a shout out to, well, actually, let me, prior to that, if you want to learn more about Calypso, and again, just more proof in the pudding here for you guys, it's literally on the NASDAQ's website, requires a keen focus on automation to enable key capabilities, including digitization of back office to offer firms the ability to achieve global transformational initiatives and adopt new paradigms such as cloud, infrastructure, blockchain, and artificial intelligence. I think Sergey from Chainlink had a really good quote in here. This is from January 2025, not directly correlated, but as we know, Chainlink deeply integrated with DTCC, Swift, and others, and I found this today, so this is not sponsored by Chainlink. I just thought it was a good quote. Sergey Nazarov, co-founder of Chainlink, emphasizing that you had the internet appear, and that was the last big generational shift. The last big generational shift was the internet and how the financial system worked, because everyone became interconnected and everyone started transacting over the internet. Now, he said, we have new sets of technologies, including blockchain, smart contracts, Oracle networks are emerging. I'll add in artificial intelligence and decentralized identity and identifiers and all the stuff that we know is happening. And that's all forcing a need for clarity, forcing the need for clarity on how a transaction actually works in this new format, because the blockchain format of the transaction is valuable, has all these wonderful properties: speed, transparency, risk management. It's a collaborative effort, such as Project Guardian, led by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and he goes into some use cases here. End of the day, though, cat's out of the bag, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned yesterday, the NASDAQ filed the digital twin request, essentially, through the SEC for tokenized stocks. Now, today, we see NASDAQ saying they're going to invest $50 million into Gemini. I don't know how much more clear this can get. The United States Department of the Treasury, if you guys want to watch this video yesterday, here it is. United States, and it's on YouTube too. United States Department of the Treasury a couple of months ago said, hey, if all goes well, and this is literally the Treasury Committee. This is the TBAC Committee of the Treasury Borrowing and Advisory Committee. You can find this document. It's public. Individuals like BlackRock and others sit on the board there. basically saying if all goes well, they think that crypto could very easily get, and I think it was higher than 2 trillion, but I'll say 2 trillion to be conservative, a $2 trillion market cap for just stable coins. That's like obviously coins backed by or pegged to the dollar by 2028. That's not even 3 full years from now. This is absolutely kind of crazy, all the stuff that we're seeing, this application settlement. You can go and read up on the DTCC stuff that I've found in the past too, that references all these different ecosystems. Explore the Canton Network through digital asset. And I'm going to rapid fire through the rest of this stuff and try to keep this under 13 or 14 minutes. Bloomberg Terminal confirming that Grayscale and Canary have also filed for spot HBAR ETFs. SEC decision set for November 11th with approval odds near 90%. HBAR now joins XRP, ADA, DOT in the ETF spotlight. Actually, I'll add Chainlink to that because we just saw, I think, one filed for Chainlink a couple of days ago. And if approved, could shift from a speculative play to a true institutional grade asset. My comments on this are, look, I get everybody gets really excited about the ETF stuff. And yes, I think it's important to get first through the door and all this other stuff. End of the day, I think that so many cryptos are going to have traditional financial products attached to them. I don't get overly excited about this stuff because I just think that writings on the wall, crypto and the blockchain and distributed ledger are going to become mainstream, going to be integrated with our daily lives. You're going to see tons of cryptos with traditional financial products. Also found a report from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. This is an international organization with 38 member countries working to shape policies and promote sustainable economic growth, improving the digital financial literacy of crypto asset users. Basically, this report says that most crypto users, and this is not surprising, do not have a whole ton of traditional financial literacy. So if you want to read that, feel free to go to the OECD's website, improving the digital financial literacy of crypto asset users. Huge warning, JavaScript packages hijacked in an attack. This was yesterday. Ledger urges caution with crypto. Essentially, always do your due diligence. I think a lot of the times in crypto, we take stuff for granted. And especially if you're not in crypto and you get into crypto, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, there's these really long, string of characters and letters and stuff. When you send a transaction to somebody, double, triple check that you're sending that to the right address, because from what I was reading, this JavaScript attack injected a package that basically was swapping all sorts of stuff was coming out yesterday. Best case scenario, I'm staying away from all this stuff for right now. I don't usually send crypto or move crypto or trade crypto very often anyways, but something to be cognizant of as always. Same thing with emails, same thing with direct messages on Twitter. For example, my personal Twitter account has tons of impersonator accounts out there that are not me. I don't have other accounts besides my main accounts. And I know people are getting DMs and all sorts of crap, and it is impossible to address it. I mean, there's really no easy way of addressing it. I also want to talk about this. This is coming out of the peninsula. So this is a news publication, obviously, in the African Middle East, the MENA region. And huge shout out to Hashgraph. For those that aren't aware, Hashgraph is one of the main entities within the Hedera ecosystem. This is QFC, or Qatar Financial Center, which I talked about yesterday, Digital Asset Lab, launching a blockchain-based POC. This is based on HashSphere, which is, again, the private network built on Hedera technology, but doesn't directly cross over right now into mainnet of Hedera. However, as we've seen, these enterprises and institutions want to develop trust with the technology, or they need to integrate in a way that's compliant for them, because maybe there's not clear-cut regulatory guidance in their jurisdiction. And this is just kind of one, barrier broken down. It's getting them used to the tech, getting them, leveraging proof of concepts on the tech and things like that. Huge shout out to XTC. I should also preface that's QFC's Digital Asset Lab, not Qatar Financial Center. It's like a subsidiary group within Qatar Financial Center, though. XTC Foundation in Boston for Blockchain Week, kicking it off on navigating compliance in the decentralized economy. I haven't announced it yet, but we have a really big XTC Foundation podcast through Genfidity. Do your own due diligence. We do have a media relationship with the XTC Foundation I don't personally, but out of Genfidity we do. And that should be a really good podcast. That's going to be next Tuesday, I believe, and it's with a very big entity in crypto, but not announced yet. And Algorand wrapping up a hackathon with the EZA guys, Dom and Phil, two of the most easily, like those guys grind in crypto more than I've seen. The EZA app, as some of you guys may know, has integrated XRPL and Algorand. I've heard they've alluded to potentially Hedera and things like that, but I think they have close to 10 blockchain ecosystems at this point. I know they have Flare integrated, Solana, a bunch of other ones. But it's always good to see, the education and the hackathons out there in the wild, and what better school to be able to do that at, educational institution other than Harvard. Anyways, as I ramp down here, I just wanted to again present this picture to you guys. NASDAQ today investing $50 million in Winklevoss founded crypto exchange Gemini. NASDAQ is directly integrated with Calypso. Gemini is going to be a distribution partner for the trade management system of the NASDAQ called Calypso. Calypso is blockchain enabled through Canton Network. Canton Network directly tied into the risk mitigation framework that has Hedera Foundation, Ripple, DTCC, Chainlink, Cardano, Avalanche, all these other huge entities for public networks. So interesting that a private network, because we were told for a very long time that all this stuff was not going to happen on public blockchains. I think that rhetoric's starting to change. I think these big institutions want the liquidity of a public network. They're still going to have the carryover of the privacy network type aspects, or they're going to have to from a compliance standpoint too. But we're going to see, and you have Chainlink kind of connecting a lot of this stuff from kind of an interoperability standpoint. It's going to be really interesting to watch how this stuff shakes out. And then you can see kind of the picture here from the risk mitigation framework as well. But I think you guys probably know my opinion. There's going to be multiple winners in this space. I certainly think the XRP ledger is an ecosystem that wins. I think that Hedera is an ecosystem that wins. That's my personal opinion. That's not financial advice, by the way. I think that Chainlink is really impressive what they've accomplished with. I mean, they have actual DTCC documentations with Chainlink integration, like that are out there in the wild. Same thing with Swift. So anyways, crazy deep dive kind of continuation from yesterday, today. And I just think the writing's on the wall. So don't pay attention to mainstream media doom and gloom. Sit back, look at the forest, not the trees, and, be smart. Don't get caught up in hype and all the other stuff that normally happens in this space, which we all have in the past. I have in the past as well. But anyways, it's pretty clear, cut and dry what's coming. As I mentioned yesterday, right now, globally, I think $40 or $50 billion tokenized, probably, excluding stablecoins of real world assets like, treasuries and money market funds and all this stuff, this low hanging fruit. NASDAQ alone is like $24 trillion. And NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, I think, are like 54 trillion or something. So we haven't even seen a misting in the bucket yet. That being said, I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you. Thanks. Bye.